Hi everybody, this is Doug Keller coming to you with YogaU with a short tutorial on alternatives for arm positions in the Cobra pose or Bhujangasana, where the placement of the hands in this back bend lying forward on the stomach often puts our shoulders a little bit of a disadvantage as far as placing pressure on the fronts of the shoulders, particularly often irritating what's called the biceps tendon or causing biceps tendonitis, where the bicep tendon comes over the front of the shoulder. Anytime we put the arms in a position that makes the shoulders come forward, it puts pressure on the front of the shoulder joint and can irritate that tendon, as well as causing tension running up into the neck. It's possible to do the arm position well with the hands at the side body, but if you find yourself getting neck tension or tension in the lower back, we can play with a couple alternatives to get the shoulders to open up a little bit better so that you can move to the classic position of the arms. In Bhujangasana, the classic position is to take the hands at the side body, and depending upon your flexibility, the hands might be more in line with the shoulders. If you're more flexible, they might be a little bit farther back. The problem is, in any of these positions, it tends to drop the shoulders forward. So when people push with the arms, it makes the shoulders roll forward and the neck tighten, and that brings tightness into the lower back. The challenge is to be able to get the shoulders to roll back to the back body and keep that little squeeze so the chest opens as you come up without feeling that forward pressure. Even as you get that opening, pushing through the hands still creates a little twisting pressure in the shoulders. So a slight variation for the arms is, instead of having the hands at the side body, take the hands out wide. We can be on fingertips in order to reduce the strain on the wrists, because when the hands are flat, it tends to drag the arms down with the wrists. So to be on fingertips allows us to keep the wrists lifted. Notice when my fingers are pointing forward, my elbows still tend to drop down, which strains the shoulders. So I'm going to change one thing and rotate the hands in slightly so that the elbows come forward in line with the shoulders instead of being behind the shoulders. When I bow my head, then I can work with drawing the shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades towards the back body, lifting up through the lower belly, and get that opening to the chest in Bhujangasana without being quite so bunched up at the fronts of the shoulders. So when I place the hands, I rotate the hands in, bow the head, firm the lower belly, first squeeze the shoulders back, and then start to lift up, lightly pressing on the hands, working the upper back as I come up, and then exhaling and releasing down once again. When I start to bring the hands towards the classic position, even with the hands at the side body, and let the elbows come out to the sides, first roll the shoulders back, keep that opening, and then start to hug the elbows in, so the lift starts to come from back here, keeping the head bowed. So I'm pressing with the heels of the hands a little bit more to get the chest open, not allowing the shoulders to pop forward or the neck to hyperextend. The same kind of thing is at work in Chaturanga Dandasana, and one way to work to prepare yourself for Chaturanga Dandasana, the four-limbed staff pose, where we come down in a kind of yoga push-up, is again to use this hand position to help open the chest. The whole idea is to get the shoulders to open back so the chest opens. To turn to the side, one way to work is to start on hands and knees, where I like to take the knees a little bit wider than the hips. Lift, cross the ankles to take yourself off the kneecaps so you don't feel discomfort in the kneecaps, and walk the hands forward some. So you can start to shift the hips forward, and as you come forward, pull up through the lower belly so the tailbone lengthens back. So you're in kind of a plank pose with the arms strong. Here too, if you lower down, it tends to bring the shoulders forward. So instead, keeping the core firm, we'll step the hands apart wide, bend the elbows slightly, and then turn the hands in a little bit. Keep the neck long, core firm, and come down, squeezing the shoulders back. You can just hold yourself halfway to the floor, pausing for a moment, and then come the rest of the way down, From there, you can reach the toes back, come up on fingertips, and come up into Cobra, opening the chest. Exhale, release down. Press back the hands and knees. Place in the hands. And then continue from there into downward facing dog pose. In all of these cases, this rotation of the arms that takes the armpits and the fronts of the shoulders back relieves pressure on the bicep tendon, allows you to move from the chest and the shoulder blades without straining the fronts of the shoulders. It actually gives you a deeper back bend. If you find it's uncomfortable to the lower back, don't lift up quite so far. Just concentrate on the action of the upper body. This is actually an improvement over a couple other possibilities that people often practice, which are good, but we can do a little bit better. Sometimes people come up in the Sphinx pose like this to take the pressure off of the shoulders. Even with the elbows on the floor, it tends to put a little bit more pressure on the lower back without working the upper back too much. This position of the arms allows you to work with the upper back more while putting a little bit less pressure on the lower back. So this is a nice alternative to work with in the Cobra pose to get a sense of opening of the chest. And we continue with this kind of lesson in the section that I do on shoulder rotations and openings in the videos given on YogaUOnline. So I hope this has been helpful, and thanks for joining me for the tutorial.